Kalira had fought in over 100 battles across the galaxy. She had faced firestorms, robotic beasts, and entire fleets of enemy warships. Her armor was made from star-forged metal, and her training began when she was just 5 years old. She never lost a single mission. Now she stood inside a small, strange building on Earth. It had white walls, blinking lights, soft chairs, and a machine near the door that kept pouring out cups of something brown called coffee. She wrinkled, her nose at the bitter smell. Her mission was simple: observe Earth culture for 1 week and report back to the Galactic Council. She had studied human behavior, language, and clothing styles. To blend in, she had removed her armor and now wore a gray suit and a name badge that read, K, new intern. No one suspected she was an alien. Not yet. She entered the open office area where rows of desks were lined up like a battlefield, only, instead of weapons, they had screens, keyboards, and piles of paper. Humans were tapping away on keys, talking into tiny glowing boxes, and sipping from coffee cups. A man walked up to her, smiling. "Hey, you must be the new intern. I'm Dan," he said, offering his hand. Kalira looked at his hand for a moment. In her culture, a handshake was a battle challenge. But she remembered her training and gently shook his hand instead of breaking it. Dan laughed. "Nice grip. You'll do fine here. Your first task is easy. Print this file and take it to room B4. Handed her a tablet. On the screen was a document titled, Client Contract, Urgent. Kalira nodded. Understood. I shall complete this mission with honor. Dan blinked. Cool. She walked toward the large black machine Dan had pointed to. It was boxy, humming softly, and had several trays, buttons, and blinking lights. A sticker on it said, Office Printer, HP Laser, 9200. Kalira studied it like she would a new enemy. She located the input panel and pressed a button. The screen lit up with a message. Ready. Good, she said aloud. You are prepared for duty. She selected the file from the tablet, connected it to the printer, and pressed print. A strange sound came from the printer. A whir, then a click, then a beep. And finally, paper jam. Please open tray 2. Kalira stared at the message. What was a paper jam? She opened tray 2 and saw nothing unusual. She closed it and pressed the button again. Paper jam. Please open tray 2. Again she opened it. Still nothing. She frowned. Is this a challenge? She opened the main panel, rolled cylinders, gears, sheets of paper halfway out. She reached in to pull one, but it tore in half. The machine beeped louder. Dan walked by. Everything okay, Kay? Kalira nodded stiffly. I have encountered resistance. The device refuses to obey. Dan chuckled. Yeah, these printers are moody. Need help? She raised her hand. No, I must defeat this myself. Dan shrugged and walked away. Kalira tried again. She opened tray 1, tray 3, the side panel, even the back. At one point, the screen changed to say, Toner low. Please replace. What is toner? She whispered. She found a large black cartridge inside and shook it. A puff of dark powder came out and stained her fingers. She growled. 2 more humans passed by. New interns fighting the printer, one said. Happens to all of us, the other replied. Kalira's jaw tightened. She had crushed metal beasts. She had hacked enemy ships mid-flight. And now this machine was mocking her. It was now 40 minutes into her battle. She had removed 2 jammed papers, replaced the cartridge, and pressed print again. Tray not aligned. She checked all trays. Nothing seemed off. She slammed one back into place. The machine beeped. No paper detected. She looked inside. It was full of paper. Kalira backed away, breathing slowly. You are a worthy opponent, she whispered to the printer. From her comms device hidden, in her ear, her commander spoke. Agent Kalira, status report? She answered calmly. No contact with hostile life forms. But I am engaged in battle with local Earth technology. It resists all attempts at command. There was a pause on the other side. A weapon? No. They call it a printer. Be careful, Kalira. Human tech can be unpredictable. Kalira ended the call and returned to the printer. Her pride would not allow defeat. 2 hours passed. She tried everything. Restarted it. Opened all panels. Even gave it a soft tap, which, for her, nearly broke the frame. Finally, a sheet came out. The document. She stared at it like it was a trophy. She had won. Dan passed by again. Oh wow, you printed it. That thing's been acting weird all week. Kalira said nothing. She simply picked up the paper and marched toward room B4, head held high. Behind her, the printer gave one final beep and printed a second copy, just to mock her. Kalira returned from room B4 with a serious look on her face. The paper had been delivered. The mission was complete. But deep inside her, something was unsettled. She had survived the experience, yes, but the printer had humiliated her. It had not been a battle of strength. It had been a battle of logic and patience, and she had nearly lost. Back at her desk, Kalira sat down and stared at the machine from a distance. Its blinking green light almost seemed smug. She crossed her arms and whispered to herself, "That machine will not defeat me again." A few moments later, Dan appeared beside her. "Hey, Kay," he said, smiling as usual. "I need a quick favor. Could you print the weekly summary file and drop it off in the manager's office?" Kalira nodded slowly. "Of course. Awesome. Thanks." He left, and Kalira picked up the small device called a mouse and clicked on the file. A simple document, only 3 pages. A light task. This would be her revenge. She pressed print. The machine made a sound. A whir. A click. Then, paper jam in tray 2. Kalira blinked. Again? She opened tray 2 with calm hands. She had done this before. She reached in. There was a piece of paper halfway through the rollers. She pulled it out carefully. But instead of fixing the problem, the machine gave another message. Toner empty. Please replace cartridge. She squinted at the display. She had just replaced the toner earlier. She opened the printer again and saw the same black tube. She removed it, gave it a small shake like she saw humans do, and placed it back. Still the message remained. Kalira turned around and saw Lisa, a kind human co-worker, walking past with a cup of tea. Lisa had helped her earlier that day with a login issue. Kalira raised her hand slightly. "Lisa." Lisa turned and smiled. "Hey, everything okay? I am requesting assistance. The machine resists me again." Lisa walked over and looked at the display. "Oh boy, tray 2 jam and toner empty? That's rare. Let me take a look." Kalira stepped aside. She watched closely as Lisa opened panels, clicked buttons, and gently tapped the screen. "You're gentle with it." "Kalira," observed. Lisa laughed. "You have to be. These machines are like angry cats. You yell and they just get worse." Kalira nodded slowly. "In my world, if a machine disobeys, it is melted down for scrap." Lisa looked surprised. "Yikes, that's intense." Kalira paused, realizing she may have said too much. "I mean, that is the rule for broken machinery, a metaphor." Lisa shrugged, still smiling. "Well, here we try to fix things, or at least try turning them off and on again." Together, they pulled out the jammed paper, found a replacement toner in a nearby cabinet, and carefully installed it. The printer beeped and the light turned green. "Ready." Kalira raised an eyebrow. "It submits to you." Lisa winked. "Nah, just experience. You'll get used to it." Kalira looked at her curiously. "How do you remain calm in battle with such a thing?" Lisa tilted her head. "You mean the printer?" "Oh, it's not a battle. You learn to laugh at it, or walk away for a few minutes. Stress doesn't help." That sentence stayed in Kalira's mind. Stress doesn't help. For her people, training involved surviving extreme trials, storms, hunger, simulations of war. They believed fear and pain made a warrior stronger. But humans? They laughed. They asked for help. They took coffee breaks during failure. Strange. People, these earthlings. With the machine finally printing, Kalira took the papers and thanked Lisa with a small bow. She walked past Dan, who gave her a thumbs up. "Look at you, already mastering the printer." She didn't correct him. Not yet. As she reached the manager's office, she noticed something unexpected. On a table near the door sat a stack of crumpled, torn papers, all marked with the same message: Paper Jam, Tray 2. She picked one up and saw scribbled notes from other workers, names, jokes, even one drawing of the printer with angry eyes and flames around it. One said, "I survived. Barely." Another, "Why do you exist, HP 9200? Kalira realized something surprising. She wasn't the only one who struggled with this machine. Even experienced humans lost to it. She returned to her desk with a thoughtful expression. Later that afternoon, the commander contacted her again through her hidden earpiece. "Report, Kalira. Have you uncovered the weaknesses of Earth's defenses?" She spoke softly. "Their technology is confusing, primitive in design, yet strangely resistant. But their true strength is something else." "What do you mean?" "They work together. They laugh in frustration. They adapt. Even in small challenges, they do not quit, even when their own machines turn against them." There was a long silence on the other side. "Continue your observation, Kalira. But be careful. Earth may not be what we expected." As the transmission ended, Kalira looked at the printer again. For now, the machine was quiet, at peace, but she knew it was not over. This was only the beginning. Kalira stood in front of the break room door. Behind it, she heard the sound of laughter, soft music, and someone opening a packet of chips. Her hand hesitated on the handle. She had battled alien warlords and walked through burning wreckage. But somehow walking into this room full of laughing humans made her nervous. She took a deep breath and stepped in. The break room was small but bright. A table stood in the center with half-eaten donuts, teacups, and a bowl of fruit. On one side, a microwave hummed. On the other, a small group of workers stood near a white machine that made warm drinks. Coffee, she remembered. The human fuel. They turned to look at her. "Hey, Kay." Lisa waved cheerfully. "Grab some tea or coffee, you deserve a break." Kalira nodded politely and walked toward the table. She didn't want tea. She didn't want food. She needed something more important. Answers. She had spent the morning watching humans. When the printer failed, they didn't panic. They didn't throw tools or scream. They sighed, laughed, and asked each other for help. Sometimes they just walked away and returned later with a cookie. Strange coping method, she thought. Lisa poured herself a cup of green tea and walked beside her. "How's your first day going?" she asked kindly. Kalira stared at the drink, in her hand. "I am learning," Lisa smiled. "Good, don't worry. Everyone messes up the first time, especially with the printer. I swear it's cursed." Kalira looked serious. "Is it dangerous?" Lisa chuckled. "Only to your patients." Kalira looked at her. "You said earlier, humans laugh during problems. Why?" Lisa thought for a moment. "Because life is already stressful. If we don't laugh, we'll cry." Kalira nodded slowly. "In my training, we were taught to fight harder when facing trouble." Lisa sipped her tea. "We fight too sometimes, but not every battle needs a sword." Kalira looked around. Another worker, Tom, was telling a funny story about spilling soup on a keyboard. Everyone laughed. Even the manager, who walked in carrying a sandwich, joined the fun. Kalira had never seen a commander laugh in uniform. She sat down and listened. The humans joked about broken chairs, old computers, and the time the elevator trapped 2 interns for an hour. None of it sounded like war, but it sounded real and familiar. Then, Tom turned to Kalira. "So, Kay, where are you from? You don't talk like the rest of us." Kalira paused. She had prepared her answer. "I am from a distant region, far from city lights. I studied in silence and worked in systems few know." Tom laughed. "Sounds like you're from a secret agent movie." Kalira gave a small smile. "Something like that." The break room filled with friendly energy. People shared their lunches. A box of cookies was passed around. Kalira refused at first, but Lisa insisted, handing her a small round one. She bit into it and paused. Sweet, soft, unlike anything on her planet. She took another bite. Lisa grinned. "Told you. Cookies fix everything." Kalira wasn't sure if she agreed, but for the first time since arriving, she felt calm. Then suddenly, a loud noise came from outside. Beep! Everyone turned. "That better not be the fire alarm," someone muttered. Kalira stood quickly. "Enemy alert?" Lisa held up a hand. "Relax. That's just the printer again. It makes that sound when it crashes hard." Dan popped his head in. Kay? Did you try printing again?" Kalira looked confused. "Not recently." Dan shook his head. "Well, it's gone into error code 101. We might need to restart the whole thing." Lisa sighed. "I told you it was cursed." The break room emptied as curious workers walked out to see the damage. Kalira followed them. The printer now blinked red. The screen showed lines of code and a strange warning. "System locked. Technical assistance required," everyone groaned. "I just needed 2 pages, someone said. "Now we'll need to send it to IT, Dan muttered. Kalira looked at the angry machine. It had ruined another peaceful moment. It had taken down the team's mood in seconds. But then she noticed something. Lisa leaned over and pressed a few buttons. Tom opened the side panel. Together they worked. Not angry, not scared. "I'll email support," someone else said. "Let's get coffee in the meantime." No one was yelling. No one blamed each other. No one quit. They simply accepted the problem, worked together, and moved on. Kalira understood something new. Humans didn't defeat problems with strength. They survived with connection. Later that evening, she sat alone in the empty office. The lights were low and the printer now sat silent after being turned off. Kalira looked at it again, but this time without anger. "You are a strange weapon," she said softly, "but I am learning." Her hidden communicator buzzed. "Kalira, status update." She answered, "I have discovered a truth about Earth. It is not machines that make them strong. It is their people, their humor, their unity, even their snacks." The voice replied, "Continue your research." She smiled faintly. "I will. Tomorrow I face the scanner." The next morning, Kalira woke early. The quiet hum of the city outside was strange to her ears, but she felt something new, a strange sense of excitement. Today, she would face another challenge, the scanner. Her commander had warned her. The scanner is another human device designed to test patience and logic. Approach it with care. Kalira dressed in her simple gray suit and walked into the office. The scanner sat on a table near the printer. It was a flat, clear device with a small lid. She watched Dan use it to copy documents. The machine made soft noises and light glowed beneath the glass. Her first task was to scan a thick file of reports and send them to an email. She took a deep breath. This time, she would succeed quickly. She opened the lid of the scanner and placed the first page down carefully. She pressed the green start button. The machine whirred. Lights moved under the glass. The screen flashed. Then, error. Document not detected. Kalira frowned. The page was clearly on the glass. She lifted the lid and looked closely. There was a small sticker on the corner of the page that stuck to the glass. She removed it gently and tried again. The screen changed, scanning page 1 of 10. The machine made soft beeps and lights flashed in a steady rhythm. She waited. At the end, the machine showed paper feed error, page 5. Kalira's eyes widened. This was new. Dan walked over. Ah, that scanner's tricky. Sometimes it thinks pages are stuck even when they aren't. Kalira nodded. How do you fix it? Dan shrugged. You usually take out the document feeder, check for jams, and try again. She carefully opened the feeder. A small piece of paper was stuck. She pulled it out slowly, careful not to tear it. She closed the feeder and pressed start. Scanning page 1 of 10. This time, the machine worked perfectly. Kalira felt a small surge of pride. See? You're getting it, Dan said with a grin. Kalira smiled softly. This machine requires observation, not force. Dan laughed. You're catching on. But wait, now comes the hard part. What is that? Sending the scanned file to an email. Kalira looked at the computer screen. It was filled with buttons and options. She tapped the screen, trying to find the right setting. Every time she thought she found it, the screen changed or froze. Frustration built inside her. Lisa came by and saw her struggle. Hey, need help? Kalira nodded quickly. Yes, I cannot find the send option. Lisa sat beside her and patiently walked through the steps. She explained that the file had to be saved first, then attached to an email. Kalira listened. Carefully, she copied each step, repeating the words in her mind. After several tries, she finally clicked send. The computer beeped. Sent successfully, the screen said. Kalira leaned back. She was victorious. Lisa smiled. Not bad for a Star Warrior. Kalira laughed softly. I am learning your ways. During lunch, Kalira sat with the team in the break room. They talked about small Earth things, sports, movies, weekend plans. She noticed how the humans connected through simple stories and shared moments. For her, communication was often formal or direct. Here it was warm, full of jokes and smiles. One person mentioned a new game that involved teamwork and strategy. Kalira realized these were human ways of training too. That evening, Kalira returned to her quarters. She stared at the small photo she had taken earlier, an image of the printer, scanner, and the friendly humans she met. She understood something deep inside. Strength was not just power or skill. It was patience. It was learning. It was working together. Her final report to the Galactic Council would be unlike any other. She prepared a message. Earthlings are unlike any species I have met. Their weapons are not only in their hands but in their hearts. They face problems, not with destruction but with humor and cooperation. This is their greatest strength. The message was sent. Her commander replied, Keep observing, Kalira. The war is not just fought with guns, but with spirit. Kalira smiled faintly. Tomorrow she would face the final test, understanding the human mind itself. The final day of Kalira's mission dawned bright and clear. She woke early and prepared herself. Today she was to observe the human mind, their thoughts, their feelings, their ways of solving problems beyond machines and battles. Her training had never covered this. Fighting wars was one thing, understanding the human spirit was another. She entered the office where the workers greeted her with smiles and nods. Dan handed her a coffee. You look ready for a big day? Kalira accepted it politely. I'm ready. Her task was simple yet strange. She would sit with the humans and watch how they worked together. She would learn from their conversations, their emotions, and their reactions. The day passed slowly but deeply. She saw workers help each other with tasks, sharing knowledge and ideas. When problems arose, no one blamed another. They discussed calmly and found solutions together. She observed laughter when mistakes happened, and kindness when someone felt tired or stressed. Kalira realized something powerful. These humans had survived for thousands of years through storms, hunger, war, and peace, not because they were the strongest, but because they cared for one another. Her mind raced back to the battles she had fought. Many warriors had fallen fighting alone or without trust. Here she saw a different kind of power, connection. When her shift ended, she sat alone in a quiet room. She opened her data tablet and began to write her final report. Earth is unlike any planet I have seen. Its people are not the strongest in the galaxy. Their weapons and technology are simple compared to ours, but their strength lies in their spirit. They fight with laughter, with patience, and with friendship. She paused. The words surprised her. She had expected to report weaknesses. Instead, she had found a new kind of strength. She continued. Machines like the printer and scanner are small battles that reveal their true nature. Earth's people do not give up. They do not break. They help one another, sharing snacks, jokes, and kind words. Kylyra smiled softly. She knew her commanders would not understand. They valued strength, power, and conquest. But she had learned that sometimes victory was not in weapons but in the will to continue, to smile, and to stand together. Her message sent, she prepared to leave Earth. At the spaceport, she looked back at the small blue planet shining in the black sky. Your battles are different from mine, she whispered. But I have much to learn. Her ship lifted off, the stars welcoming her back. In her heart, she carried a new mission, to tell the galaxy about Earth's true power, a power no machine could match, a power born in the simple moments of human life.